Man, if y'all don't know who's in the building right now, then I don't even know what to say after this point. It's just like it's crazy. I kind of question, the culture. If you don't know who this guy is right here, this man is my brother, man. The legendary Focus Three Dots, man. What's up, sir?
How are you, King? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm blessed, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad to be able to get up with you, man, and get you up early in the morning. But you seem like you get up already a little bit early. Not
Yeah,
probably as early as me.
not as early as you. Yeah, you went.
So what's your first routine when you up early, man? Like when you get up early, what's your first thing you up to?
um, for the last couple years, I've just been really getting up early and just doing some really heavy meditation. It's really been kind of key just to line myself for the rest of the day, and then from there, just kind of knocking down the day. When my kids are with me, then I'm with them all day. But otherwise, I'm in them streets trying to make these connections. You know what I'm saying? So
I
you know
mean,
what that is.
you know what, bro? One of the biggest things, and I was telling people on my live before we did the live about, our relationship and how when we first connected, it was just that you could feel that discernment of your first of all, just your God-fearing heart. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The humbleness of you was the thing that drew our connection. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, because
Yeah.
we both know a lot of people, and we know a lot of people, but it's every now and then you run across people you feel that special, that connection, that locked in, and I knew it instantly, and we've had that brotherhood since. You know what I mean? So I salute you, man, because just your heart, and you've done a lot of stuff, man. That's so crazy, but you're one of them silent giants. I look at you as a silent giant, a person that you let your work speak. Your work has always spoke for you. You've never been a very loud, obnoxious person that's done a lot of stuff. You have been silently killing stuff, and a lot of people probably have no idea of what you've been behind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, with that being said, let the people kind of know what some of the stuff that you've been behind, because they might not know.
Well, I appreciate you. And first off, I'm gonna give you your flowers. First off, we already know the legend that you are. I love the fact that the community is supporting you the way they are. Everybody's up with you right now. That's beautiful. Um, but humility is key, and you've always accepted me. You didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Being from the East Coast and then coming to the West Coast, and you and a lot of my OGs out here, you guys brought me up under your wing, and you helped me, guided me and directed me. So my hat's always off to you, and I really appreciate the love. But
Man,
some of the records that the people would know me for, 112, you already know. Beyonce's Yes from her first album. I've been working with Dre for over 20 years. Dr. Dre and Aftermath. I've been on the Games album. I did the song Where I'm From. There's a song by Mac Dre. R.I.P. That
we're gonna talk about that too.
yeah, the Mac Dre record Gets Stupid. That everybody thought Dre did for a long time.
Right,
So
right,
I think
right.
a lot of people just, instead of not knowing who I am, they just attributed it to Dr. Dre.
For
You know.
sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, let's just talk about the little Dre thing. I remember, when that went down, and you was, speaking on it. So how did that whole situation happen? You know what I'm saying, with the Go Stupid record, the Dre record, the Mac Dre record.
The Mac Dre record.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's not a huge mystery, but it's still a mystery to me. Um, his camp got a hold of one of my CDs,
Hmm.
and it might have come from a guy that used to work for the camp for Aftermath at the time, or I mean, it might have been pirated. I That part I don't know. I don't know how they got a copy of my CD, but they thought that they were Dr. Dre beats.
Mm, mhm.
So when they heard that beat, because that beat is literally straight off, like it's straight out the MPC. Like I literally didn't get to finesse it or nothing. It was just I was demoing it and sending it to Dre to find out if he even liked it.
Right, right.
So when I did the record, um, it's not even completed. Like they just took it straight off the CD. And I think that back in those days, I didn't even know that that record went did anything. Don Cannon, DJ Don Cannon, that's my brother, and he was doing something in the Bay, and they played the record, and he heard the beat because I played it for him, and he was like, "Yo, you got a hit in the Bay," and I'm like, "I don't even know what we're talking about, bro."
you was like, what? What are you
Yeah,
talking about?
I didn't even
Right,
know what you was talking. I didn't even
right,
know it. And when they said Dr. Dre did it, then it all started to make sense. I'm like, okay, that's why I don't know about it because they didn't think
right,
me, you know.
right, right. That was Man, that was a huge record here, bro. It was huge, and that just kind of shows the power of what you can do because if that was just rough,
Yeah,
just imagine if it was completed. And
yeah,
I know that has to feel as kind of the bittersweet thing as being a producer
yeah,
because you know the possibilities of how far it could have went beyond what it was, just that skeleton. And that's how you know that you're true to your craft because that's how I work. I do little skeletons and I build and I sit on it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I understand totally that you probably had whole other plans, for that.
My brain was hurting every time I hear that record. Just like, man, they have no idea how big it could have sounded, but yeah,
Yeah, I've had those situations before, where I've had a record and I kind of gave them a reference record, just for just so you could write, get a feel, but I'm gonna really, really and just put it out. And I was
yeah.
like, oh man, are you kidding me? You gotta be kidding me right now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I can't stand that.
Man, it hurts a lot, man. But that gets back to the point of this platform is that why it's so important for me to have you and Cat and all of these legends, the high techs and ski beats, is because the passion of all the years you put in the game, like a lot of people can form when the game gets to the point where it's at right now. It's at a real, it's an interesting point where it's at right now. Um, but a lot of the cats that's been in it 20 plus, they feel like they have to start swaying into a direction of what's popular and what's going
Yeah,
on. And it's understandable because the music business is a really weird, it's in a weird space right now. But one thing that I've noticed, even when I jumped on your live the other day, is that you in there grinding and making some of the most incredible music. I mean, and you're doing what you want to do, and it don't sound like nothing that I hear at
th-
all.
thank you, man.
And that's, bro. Do you understand how hard that is to see from somebody that's been in the game as long as you have, the accolades under your belt, and you have still stayed standing on your principles of your musicality, and you're still inspired. And I'm saw your inspiration when you was talking about the Prince, and you was talking about stuff that inspired. Bro, that's dope.
Thank you so
That
much.
is so dope, focus, because I don't see that often, man. We tend to feel like we have to keep up with popularity, but it's really about the music.
Yes,
The
sir.
music will make you popular if you true in your heart to what it is. And when I'm watching you and you playing, I'm feeling the love from the music and the passion and the elements and the chords and the progressions and the stuff you put. I'm like, man, this dude love what he do.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
how do you keep that inspiration, bro? Because I'm watching it. Like, this I do music every day. It don't matter if it comes out the way I want or not. I just want to stay inspired to
mm,
create because you're gonna create what you want if you stay creating. It's like practicing. You just never stop practicing. And I'm
there-
watching you do that.
yeah.
So how do you stay inspired like that, brother?
First and foremost, it's all a blessing. Um, I definitely attribute it all to God. Like it's a blessing. I just love making music. Second, my biggest inspiration in life are my children. Um, and I've always asked God to make sure that this blessing continues to feed my family. So there's no way I can stop. In this, unfortunately, in this industry, we don't have a 401k or anything sitting for us when we stop working. So until I make my thriller, until I make that, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right, for sure. For sure.
You know
For
what I'm saying?
sure. For
Until that
sure.
that kind of moment comes in my life, it's song to song, and my heart always has a melody in it. My spirit always has a melody in it. And of course, coming from the lineage that I come from, my father being who he was, there's no way that I could sit here and tell you that the industry is over the music. I'm all about creating. I'm all about you know um unlearning what the industry is making these new producers and these new artists learn. They don't have to keep up with anything. They are the trend. There is no trend if there is no music. I love the fact that you just said that. Like, everybody is so busy trying to fit into these molds, and they get into these boxes and then they're stuck.
Right.
And I refuse to get in a box. I refuse.
And I can tell. And
Yeah.
I can tell because at the end of the day, when I'm listening to your music, like I said, I've been doing this since I was 14.
Right.
And we're going to get back to your father too.
Yes, sir.
And one thing that I do know is that when I watch a person work and I watch the passion and and I'm gonna go into a story when we was in the studio together, but I watch your passion. What you do shows that you are not trying to become the whole stereotypical thing of where the industry has gotten. You were saying, look, I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna let my music show you my passion. My music will become the popularity through the love of what I put through the music. And I think a lot of people don't understand. They chase popularity
Right.
and they find themselves following these trends and stuff. But one thing that I know about the legends, and even including your father, is that they were trendsetters, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
that's who you are, from your music, from stuff that you've sent me that I'm like, just crazy. I mean, you've sent me stuff, I'm like, just crazy. You know
Thank
what
you.
I mean?
Thank
Because
you.
and you can feel it. You can feel it. So I'm just really proud of you, bro, because you have kept that mindset when everybody is telling you different. Like the way the game is, they just tell you, hey man, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. You go,
Yeah.
nah, nah.
Yeah. It's funny because then I'm at the point in my career where they're not asking me to be, don't make something like Timbaland, or don't make something like Dr. Dre. Hey, can you make another? And they'll name one of my old records. And I'm like,
Mm,
moment, and even though it might be quote unquote my sound, it's it still was a moment. I don't just turn around and manufacture or relive older moments. If it's something that comes up, it'll come up, but it's
for
not
sure.
that I go for. Like, I'm not going to keep manufacturing yeses from Beyonce that I did that one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay. In that moment, that was my connectivity. That was what I wanted to give, and now I'm on to something else.
That's how you know that you have been molded by the greats. Because the greats are never trying to recreate something that's already been done. We're trying to do another something that's different from what we've done, but still make you have that same feeling that you got from it, but it's different. And it
Yes,
keeps because if music continues to be recycled, then we have really no culture. We have to always try to step it up and create. I remember when I did, Blast If I Have To on the Friday soundtrack.
yes,
And
sir.
that was a really, really big record.
Yes,
And
sir.
I was very conscious of understanding that that was so big that now the next record, most people want that same feeling because that's just the nature of fans.
Yes, sir.
But our job as artists and producers and just being creative is to take you to another level, and that means that you have to be uncomfortable. And then
Right.
I preach this on my platform. Everybody does stuff that's comfortable, you know when you are really, really true being a pioneer of your craft, you have to be uncomfortable and challenge yourself to do something that maybe people might not feel the same as the other thing. But it
Yeah.
won't be that you don't feel it. it'll be that it's not like the other thing because they haven't been taught how to get to the new thing.
Right.
And that's what real, pioneers do. We challenge you, even if we don't know if it's gonna work or not, you know?
Yeah.
And most of the time it does work because we put our heart and passion into it. So after I went from the Blast If I Have To, I came with a record called Showdown. And when I did the Showdown record, it was with me and Montel Jordan. It just went to a whole nother level. It just
Right.
went to a whole nother level, but it was different content. It wasn't the same content. It was more lyrical. I want to show the diversity, and you always show the diversity with your music. I mean, from the R&B to the hip hop, and a lot of people don't know that you got bars. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, thank you.
I don't think people know you got bars, man. You know what I'm saying? What made you start? I mean, how long ago was you started rapping or with the music, or was you doing it at the same time?
It's fun. I thought I was an artist when I first started. So just like you, I started really early. Just being in my household. So at first I started singing, or what I thought was singing. Anyway, and as I got older, I started hanging around these kids, and they taught me how to rap. So there's
Mm,
a kid LB that really taught me how to get flows together and stuff like that. And this other kid, Mr. Drake Kincaid, he used to go by Mr. Nasty, and he's still one of my great friends. And he actually locked me into different flows, and he was like, "You got to listen to cadences and stuff like that." So sitting with those cats in those days, I'm able to do it because it's a passion, but it's not something like I never wanted to be on stage. Like if you look at my career, I've always stayed behind the scenes because of my love for music, because of my love of my children, and being a family man. I like the fact that I can go out and not have to worry about who's over my shoulder, friend or foe. You know what I'm saying?
for
Like
sure,
I can
for
just
sure,
I can go to Walmart, I can go to Target, you know what I'm saying,
for
and not
sure, for sure, for sure, for
so
sure. Have peace of mind.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I get it. I get it.
I've always loved that normality, and still, um, we it's a gift. It's such a gift, man, and I just never want to mess that gift up, man. I never want to mess it up. I do the best I can to nurture this gift, you know.
I mean, you've done it, Focus, bro. You've done it year after year, at the time, through the perseverance. You've showed that you've weathered because there's so much that can stray you away. I mean, because a lot of people's opinions, they be deep, and if you're around them enough, it can sway you away from your principles and your purpose.
Yeah, man.
So I think a lot of that has to contribute to your God fearing nature and your prayers, and you just being a God fearing man. It helps you have that discernment to stay in pocket. Still be able to deal with everything you deal with, but you still stay in pocket with your principles and your values.
I appreciate that, bro. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see it, brother. I see it. I mean, every time I'm around you, I feel it. I feel that energy. I feel what you're bringing to the culture and what you're bringing as just as a man. We got to work on these things every day. You know what I mean? This is why I get up early because when I
Mm.
pray, distractions, so I can start the day and just have clarity to go out there because you're gonna deal with all kinds of nonsense. That's gonna come regardless. But
Yes,
when
sir.
you tapped in, you know you know how to deal with it. You know how to focus, like the name. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, a lot of people might not know. Maybe they might know, but
Mm.
you need to let them know who your legendary dad is because I don't think they really know.
Okay, for sure. My dad was Bernard Edwards from Chic, the bassist. He did La Freak, I Want Your Love, Dance, Dance, Dance,
Woo!
the song Good Times that helped mold the first commercial hit for hip hop, which was Rapper's Delight. So
Mm,
um, they call my pops and Nile Rodgers the godfathers of hip hop. So this 50-year mark it was special. It was special for the family because I wish my pops was here to see how far it went. You know what I'm saying? And just to even hear his bass line and like a lot of people want to that record. You know what I'm saying? And they're
Me included, me
yeah.
included, me included.
So it's just it's beautiful just to see how much of an impact his music made, and I wish he could have been here to see it.
Man, well, you know what? I know he's smiling about it. I know he's smiling about it
I hear that.
because the impact he's made, and not only the impact that he's made on you being a junior. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, that would make any father proud.
Wow.
Any father proud. You know what I'm saying? I mean, bro, you got to understand, we're in a we're in a serious business. This ain't this.
Yeah.
People think this business is all it's all this and this. No, 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 no. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. You really have to be built for this business.
Yes.
You have to be built for it. You have to be mentally, spiritually, physically sound for this. And you've been able to. Your resume is so long, dude. We wouldn't even have enough time to talk about it. That's, I mean, for real, bro. Like you've done a lot to inspire the culture. And I'm talking about from hip hop to R&B on down. Like it's crazy.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. You know, I remember watching one of early YouTube video of you in the studio on the MPC 3000. I looked at that thing over and over. It was one of the best beat making videos I ever saw. I
Thank
mean, it was dope. Between you and the one I seen with High Tech, it was it was just inspirational. You
thank
was in there and you was on the piano, you started playing the bass, you was asking the engineer for a different snare or a hat, you know what I'm
right.
saying, a type, and just the way you was putting stuff together was so fire, bro. I said, oh, this man is cold.
Thank you so
This
much.
man is cold with it
Thank you.
you know and I'm watching you in your elements. But not only was I watching what you were doing, I was watching the mind state. You were constantly creating the next episode as you going. You're adding and you're adding and you're adding, you taking and you adding and I'm just watching that process, and it just put a smile on my face because that's how you know that you're in the music. And you ain't got a billion people around you. You ain't
No.
got, it's just you
Yeah.
in there in your element,
Yeah.
showing that I do this
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do this regardless who I can collaborate. You're very flexible. You can do all kinds of stuff, but you are showing I can do this
Yes,
with
sir.
nothing around me, and you're gonna feel the impact of what I put into this music. It was
Yes.
one of the greatest. It was one of the greatest like YouTubes that I've saw.
Thank you so much, man. And
Real
thank you.
talk, bro.
I
Real talk.
do like. I love collaborating. That's another avenue of inspiration. But um, started alone. You know what I'm saying? I did
Yeah,
just you. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah.
fact you have all the racks around you, and yeah, started alone. You know what I'm saying? We just go in there and we do what we do, and I think that even now, collaboration is a beautiful thing, and it helps to give longevity to something that could be stale for you. Um,
Hmm.
any creator and creative, you want to make sure that you can have some arms that'll get you away from your normal way of creating. But it's a dangerous game now too because they get so many creators on one record that it doesn't even have a soul. It's just a bunch
Oh
of
my,
throwing ingredients in the pot. It doesn't taste like soup anymore. It's just like
preach,
that is.
preach,
You know what I'm saying?
preach.
So I'm like, I still believe in connectivity. I believe in connecting with the listener. And if everybody's doing it, we all don't all and it's no disrespect, but it's the truth.
It's the
We all
truth.
have the same passion and heart for what we're creating. They might not be coming from the place of love that I'm coming from. So now the connectivity gets lost to me. You
Right,
know, I
right.
make sure I create with like-minded people. I'm making sure that the exact same feeling that I have is going in there with all the creators that are creating. And that's always it's worked. It's worked all the way up till now.
Bro. And you just, I mean, bro, you just, that's the biggest amen that you can get. You know what I mean? Like that's the truth. That
Thank
is
you.
the truth, bro. And that's the reason why when you're with anybody, you really make other people better, man. And that's the real definition of a producer.
Thank you.
Is bringing the best out of people. whoever it is. I mean, you've taken so many different artists and they all have different personalities, and you're looking and you're making stuff fit to that, not trying to take what that happened and claim the same thing over there. Like, I
Right.
love that, bro.
Thank you,
I
bro.
love that.
Thank you,
I
man.
I remember when you was working on, and we could talk about this too, and I remember this very well when you had the analog. It was the analog in a digital world,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
and that was so dope.
Thank you,
That
man.
was so dope, and
Thank
and it was a lot of meanings behind that, you know, that I felt. Maybe
you.
it wasn't for you, but I felt. So maybe you can explain it from your perspective on how you felt when you was working on that.
Well, I mean, it's not even something that I'm working on per se. It's just who I am. This world is going to more digital. We can see the AI movement, and that thing is like a wildfire. So the more digitized that it becomes, the more analog I become. And people can call it relic, they can call it retro, but it just is what it is. It's how I create, and it's how you create. Your analog music T-shirt was always on me. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
And I even have it here. I'm analog. Like that's
Oh my goodness, I never saw that, folks.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Few months ago, but yeah, it's
That's salute, bro. That's
so
crazy.
thank you.
That's
So
dope, bro.
it's just that real for me. Like it's I think one of the best instruments on the planet is the voice, and there's nothing more analog than that. There's tones that we can hit that can make a person cry, that can make a person mad, that can make a person when you turn around and you evoke emotion through your voice. There's nothing better than that, and the rest of the instruments just turn around and add to it. So I it's just my way of life. It's literally the way I create. I'm always going to be analog in this digital world.
Bro, that was such a dope project. I remember when you sent it to me, I said, man, this is dope. Everything about it was just like crazy.
Thank you so much.
Crazy, bro.
The the tenth one I'm doing is my final one.
Okay.
That'll be 100 beats in the series, and then the 10th one is all stems. So
Mm.
yeah, so you're gonna have to import it into a DAW. You'll be able to manipulate it, and I'm really doing it for these new producers and creatives so that they can have them, the pliability to do what they want with it. But it's gonna be 10 beats and just all stems. I'm not gonna release it as a whole project. You have to download it and make the project.
Bro, that's fire.
Thank
See,
you.
you know what I love is that you're educating in such a unique way because you understand the times have changed and you embrace it, but you also understand the foundation.
Yes, sir.
And that's how I look at it. I try to tell people I'm not against digital. I'm not against anything. I just understand that I have to utilize stuff to make sense. And I don't want to get too far away from the foundation that I love. I know the analog is a texture that made me love some of the classic records that I've ever grew up on, from your father included. You dig what I'm saying? So I understand that I know how to be in that hybrid world and I know how to work and make stuff come together, you know. And that's dope that you're using your platform and your level of your knowledge and what just with your accolades to try to help push like that idea is really really dope. I don't even know what made you think about doing that though. Like what made you really in your mind say, man, I'm a push this way.
As far as analog in the
No,
digital world,
just far as the stems, just thinking
all the
about, I want to I want to take it in that direction.
I I think it's definitely leaning on what you're saying about educating the creatives. Like I said, I like unlearning and undoing what everybody is telling people that they have to do to be creatives.
Mm,
Uh, I you know, it's no disrespect again to my counterparts, my peers, but they do these panels and they're like, this is the way to do it, and you have to do this, and these are the kilohertz and the megahertz, and this is that. No, it's
mm.
not. I can show you records that disprove all of that are hit records. So at the end of the day, I think that we have to be the loudest megahorn in the game about just being creative. It might
Mm,
work. You might have to hone in and start to fine tune. But at the end of the day, if you don't create, then what the heck are you fine tuning? You're too busy trying to be like the person you heard at this panel, or the person that you hear on the radio. And I'm like, man, I just want people to get back into being creative. So the stems, they're gonna be able to jump into my world and my mind and my creativity, and you get to hear why I did it and how I did it, and solo the track and be like, okay, this is dope. And maybe if you want to emulate or whatever, you'll have that pliability. And I think that the best way to show people is to show them. You know what I'm saying? To
yeah,
actually, like, it's not to tell them, but show them. And I don't mind coming from behind the red curtain. A lot of our boys, our peers, they don't like telling their secrets. I'm like, there's no secret anymore, bro. There's no
right.
secret.
That's right. That's right. You know what's funny? I'm so glad you spoke on that. That was kind of the thing what happened with these drums, that I started putting out these drums, and I was talking about conversion. I was talking about how a lot of the analog stuff, they go through these conversions and it gives us this sound, and it
That's
gives
right.
us this texture. And
Mhm.
and that's what brings me back to when you was working the studio on your 3000, what you was doing, and you added your bass. Just I felt it through the video. I was like, oh man, I was like, it was crazy. It was like I felt it in my chest, bro. And I think a lot of people. So when I came and I gave these guys these drums on the platform, they was like, "Oh my goodness!" They had never heard drums really pop out like that and cut
Yes.
through the mix. I said, "Yeah, because I'm using a certain type of process, and I'm allowing these drums to breathe, but you still have headroom, and they're not over compressed. They're not, saying they're doing what they're supposed to do. So you be inspired. So once you get in there, you start working. You're gonna want to create, because as well as I know, sound design it takes a lot. It,
Yeah.
it 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 takes a lot to have the EQ started. By the time you do that, that's just one. That's just its own mode. I don't know if you're gonna be as inspired to want to start making the musical ideas, when you got a sound design.
Yeah.
So I like to have stuff done ahead of time where I got my turn to, so I can go in there and create.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to create. You don't want to lose that idea.
That's
I
right.
know everybody know. You lose an idea, you're like, oh my God, I forgot that bass line. Because I hum stuff in my head. I know you do too. You
Yeah.
know? You
Do
know,
you keep
so
a do you keep a voice recorder with you?
oh yes, indeed.
Okay, so that's
Yes,
I was
indeed.
about to say. I never lose an idea. I'll
Yeah.
hum in 2 seconds. Like I'm not,
So,
I'm not
you
losing.
know what happens though? A lot of times, so I'm driving to the gym and it's about an hour, and I'll be humming. But being that I rap too, I'm rapping ideas, but I'm humming stuff. So I'm trying to keep everything locked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so but yeah, you want to. But like I said, once you get stuff, you want to be able to start working on it, so you can
Yeah.
add other pieces that maybe you don't have already.
Yes,
Because
sir.
once you get that bass line and you start playing it, oh, that's gonna maybe create this other melody, and that's gonna turn into this other melody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's dope, bro.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
know, um, I wanna, several things I want to talk about, but I want to talk about this one. So you remember my artist Red the Arsonist?
Of course.
Rest in peace. You
Rest in peace.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the biggest things that he loved was when we was in the studio together and we was going back and forth with the record battle. Me and Focus had a little beat battle. It wasn't not really a beat battle. We just
I'm.
playing
I,
beats.
I will not. I will never say that live, man. It was not a battle. I got to play some stuff from my OG. What are you talking?
We was Yeah,
It
it was dope. It was
was
super dope,
fun.
and the whole studio
Fun.
was, I mean, the whole set, it was going crazy in there. They was like, oh, Focus would play something, I play something. They was going,
So,
oh man, it was the dopest feeling because we was playing fire. I
yeah.
mean, it was fire, fire after fire. But rest in peace to my bro, man. He talked about that for months. Oh my God, I wish I would have filmed it.
My God, man, his energy. He was so humble, but he
Yeah.
was so passionate, man. It was easy to work with somebody like that. It was easy to work with him. And even the record that we ended up doing, like it's just it was nice to meet a kindred creative spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just in there ready to go. Definitely God rest, you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say something that, like I said, I don't, because that was my dude, that was my brother, man, and I don't want to like tear up because when I lost him, it was hard on me. It was hard. It was super super hard on me, man. But But one thing, and I told Teak this, Teak from Hardway Production, I had him on here, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing I told him. When my man passed,
Mm,
both of y'all reached out and said, Ski,
yeah,
whatever you need, I got you. And
yeah,
you did a remix on him that was so cold
yeah,
and so vicious out of your heart.
yeah,
And that right there, I will ever be so humble and just blessed to have a brother like you to do what you did at that time of need when the pain was there for me. You know what I mean? You stepped up. You said, Ski, I got you, bro. And I'm gonna always love you forever for that, my brother, because that was tough for me.
yeah,
That was a super, super tough time for me. And you came through and you did everything you said. I didn't have to chase you down. You know how some people say they got you and they ain't got you.
yeah,
They
yeah,
ain't got you. You got to chase them down. You got to, hey man, you still got me? Oh yeah, yeah, I got. Okay, I'm still waiting.
yeah,
Months. Nah,
yeah,
you was on point. You got me. Your word, just like today. You said, Ski, Monday, it's on. I got you. And look
yes,
where we at. You
yes,
are one of them guys, bro. And I don't think these people on here understand. It's not that many people that do what they say they're going to do and have that type of integrity. Now, I'm not saying that they won't get around to it. I'm saying your word is your word.
yes, sir.
That's my word. If I tell you I got you,
Yeah,
I got you.
yes, sir.
You dig what I'm saying? And you're that guy.
Yeah,
And I thank you. And I'm very humble for our brotherhood. And I'm gonna always love you for that, brother, because that is important to me. That's the one of the most important things ever. I don't care about this music. Your word is everything to me.
yes, sir.
And you are that guy, brother. And I salute you and I love you for it, bro.
Love
For
you.
real. So, just away from that, that was a great time, man. We was playing beats after beats after beats. And man, it was just to be in that environment of creativity. That's what I live for. It's hard to
Yeah,
get that now, though. It's very hard to get that. And I'm talking about you. We were playing different stuff. We weren't playing the same stuff.
right,
It was different type of textures and different type of beats and different. Bro, was the best. You not just hearing cats just playing back to back trap beats. No
right,
disrespect to trap.
right,
I'm just saying it was
right.
a bunch of different type of stuff, different musical textures and stuff that would challenge the mind and challenge an artist.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was just that was beautiful, bro. That was
I,
beautiful.
I have a blast doing that, and anytime I get to play for an OG of mine, like it's always I'm looking for the validation that's not only keep going, but it definitely helps you feel like you're not alone. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
do.
you can't do that with everybody. Like you said, you can't just sit down and start, playing track for track with everybody because some people get intimidated, and they'll start to really you'll see that ugly side of the jealousy. You know what I'm saying? And I've had that happen, and I'm like, I know what I know. I know
Right.
what I know that
Right.
it's if you don't like it, you're still gonna love it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
No, I
You're
totally get it. I
not gonna,
totally get it.
but you're still gonna love the fact that I want different and my drums slap and you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you can't hate on that. And unfortunately, there's more hate than there is love in
Facts.
this frequency that we're doing, and
Facts.
I try to just stay in the love zone. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, all it was in that studio was love. And you was playing some cold stuff, and I'm like, whoo. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, whoo. Like listen, I'm a competitor. And like I said, I have a martial art background, being a world champion.
Yes, sir.
I'm embrace steel sharpens steel. And this is what I tell people. There's no need to hate. If you're inspired by somebody, take that and go back and work.
That's right.
Use that as inspiration. There's no need to act like that wasn't dope. You're
Yes,
going to
sir.
act like that wasn't dope. You're going to kill your whole growth by acting like you can't acknowledge something that's dope. Really?
Yeah,
I just don't come from that.
yeah,
I don't come from that. I mean, I've been in the studio with Dre, and Dre plays some stuff. I'm like, oh, come on, Dre, just turn it off. Just turn it off. Now I got to go back to Oakland and get
Yeah,
busy. You know what I'm saying?
that's
You
right.
that's what made us great, though.
Yes, sir.
So if you can embrace somebody playing you some heat, and you be like, and be able to say, "Whew," and feel like, bro, I got to go work.
Yeah,
Then what are you doing this for, bro? Are you doing this just so you can just feel like you in a space and you just want to pat on the back for not being great?
yeah.
Because greatness comes from a challenge.
Yes, sir.
You have to be challenged every day. And I know you great because you're around one of the greatest that's ever done it. I know Dre challenges you. There's no way that he could.
Yes, 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 yes.
I already know.
Yeah, yeah.
Dre's going to challenge you. He's going to pull the best out of you.
That's right. That's right.
So how could you not be great? You're
Yeah,
already around the greatest that ever do it.
that's right.
You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
No, bro, I love it, bro. I just wanted people to know, man, and I wanted to talk about your other project you got that you formed is a PDF, am I right?
Yes, sir. Read the
Yeah,
P.
man, speak on that, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Read the PDF. It's me, Mr. Porter. That used to be with D12, and he's over at Shady, and my brother Dem Joints, and we just come together and create, man. We're actually doing records as individual artists, producers, and singers, but it's one record. So each part we produce ourselves, but it's one record.
Mm,
It's really a creative approach in a world where everything is kind of just one record and one idea. We're all together, just creating, and it's probably the biggest breath of fresh air for me right now. Like
that's
it's
dope.
my God, like it literally every time I get something from them, I get excited to get back over here and get back to work.
That's dope.
Yeah. So it's keeping me sane and it's keeping me and like it's not just making a solo project anymore. I think I'm done with that, and I'm just really focusing on this PDF thing. Like it's really dope, and I'm gonna send it to you when we get off because I would love your opinion. It's a lot. I call it smart music. It's a
Hmm.
lot, and you're gonna get the best of all three of us at the same time. Each song
Hmm.
definitely gonna be something that is gonna take the world a little bit of time to digest.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's what we need, though. I mean, people, the music that the music we have right now don't make you think at all. And I get it. People have tough lives. People have jobs they're going to. People have kids. I mean, inflation is through the roof. Cost of living is so much stuff going on that people just want to get away. And it's the dumbed down approach. And I get it, but I think the dumbed down approach is the reason why people are not growing because you need to get some information too. You
Yeah,
have to have information. You have to have balance
yeah,
in order for you to coexist in this world that we in.
yeah,
And I think the problem with music ain't so much that you have the dumb down stuff, is that there's no balance no more. There's
yeah,
more of this than that. Like even when we were coming up, there were always balance. You could have certain type of music, but then you could have a Public Enemy. You know what I mean? You can
man.
have you
Hold
dig
up,
them?
the exact name I was just thinking, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Exact,
you know what's crazy is how we talked this morning. You text me and I was calling you. You see,
yeah,
we see how we always on
that's
time on.
crazy. I can't believe, like, literally, I was saying public, like, for everything, we had a public enemy.
Yeah.
That's,
Well,
yeah,
Public Enemy changed the world.
yeah, man. Terror,
Listen, shout out to my brother Chuck D and Flav.
yeah,
Listen, Public Enemy single-handedly made people take off the gold ropes and the material stuff and made people put on the black medallions and made them start evaluating, hey man, there's way more to than what you think. But they didn't ostracize the ones that was wearing the gold chains neither.
right. That's
They
right.
just gradually showed you there's another way,
Yeah,
you know? And
uh,
that's what leaders do. You don't have to, I'm just going to show you there's another way. And hopefully you see that you have choices. You
Yeah.
know, and I tell people, even with your music, you have choices. You can really, really focus on really studying your craft. Like I noticed that a lot of people turn to a lot of plugins, which is nothing wrong with that. But
Right.
it would be ideal for you to understand what a 1073 is in the hardware world. So when you get in the plugin world, you'll have an idea, you know?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it's just being able to have balance. And I think they shook the game and gave us balance. Really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, man, that's so crazy. I think that not only do we need something to create a shift, we've gotten so used to the normality of escapism that nobody wants the reality. Nobody like it. Everything has been so, everything is so fake and AI and digitized that reality is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like even when you see these movies, they're CGIing a lot of the older actors to their younger selves. It's like we're giving ourselves these false images, this false frequency, this all of this stuff is so manufactured that we're not really understanding or in tune with the organic stuff anymore. And I think that, and I'm not going to get too deep with that, but I think that right now this is the perfect time for us to be like, okay, I'm going to use real instrumentation. I'm not I'm not dissing anybody that uses the stuff. Like you said, I'm not being a hater on you using plugins or dragging and dropping loops and whatever. That's beautiful. I still use vinyl. But at the end of the day, real instrumentation, there's something about it, man. When it hits, you love it. You
Facts.
it's going
Facts.
to your body, it's going to resonate in your spirit. And so like I still just try to create, like you said, going back to that analog thing, I still try to create from that place, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And nobody like, E, you have all of the drum machines, there's nothing you can't tap in.
Right.
So when
Right.
you put out those kits, like they're getting gem after gem after gem because you're actually using the converters that we grew up on, that made the records that we call hits now. Like it's really great, man. It's really dope.
You said something that was so dope, focused. I mean, everything you said is crazy because that's how I speak. But to hear you speak, because we haven't talked in a second about what we talk about. But we're so aligned that is crazy, man. It's like real instruments, the bass that you play, the stuff that your real drums, all of that stuff, you can feel the impact of it. It's
Yeah,
it's unreal, and I think it's harder. Like I said, we were blessed to come from that era. It was
yeah,
just we were blessed. That's just what it was. I always think, and I try to put myself in the new generation. That what if I just came in this era? I would
yeah.
only know what I know. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So I'm really not mad at the ones that don't know or understand that. But what I do know is that it takes people like myself and you to try to use platforms to gradually educate people without them feeling so intimidated by the messenger. Because I
Yeah,
think people get intimidated by the messenger because they feel like they're being told that they're garbage or they trash. No,
right.
it's just we're trying to redirect you on how you can get the most out of it and get the feeling that because most of these kids, they'll tell you they grew up on older stuff
Yeah,
and they're trying to get it, but you don't really know how to get it. So you need to kind of pay attention so you can kind of start trying to learn how to get that, how to get those feelings that you're going for. Because when I hear a lot of music today, it's very, and just the only word I can use is very sterile sounding.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's very sterile. Like I hear music and I like the musicality, but after a while, I don't really want to listen to it again. The way it was recorded, it
yeah.
just doesn't stick. It doesn't stick like a lot of the music that I used to really listen to.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with recording and wave stuff is processed, like you say, the frequencies in the music and saying in the sound, the saturation we got from it, from
Yeah,
tape and just
yeah,
the boards, saying all of that, the real instruments, that feeling,
yeah,
like even when you running the board, Even when you're running a board, you leave that board on to stay warm. Your mood, you leave it on because that circuitry is what's warming that stuff up. You know?
Tubes, yeah, everything, yeah.
Yeah.
It's I definitely agree with you, OG. But these kids are they're born in these times where SSLs are unemployed. Like they're not even. They have studios that have boards that no patch base. The only
Right.
thing you can do is just use an aux cord to get into it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I think that you hit it right on the head when you said that if you were born in this time, you're gonna know what you know of this time, and it is important that without chastising, without hitting them with the iron hammer, we help to mold. You know what I'm saying? We help to teach, and you've always been great with that. You've been
Thank you.
great with that with me. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you.
I can only go by what I know about you. You've always been a leader. You've always been a teacher, and you've always been humble. It's never with an iron fist. You never walk in swinging and like, no, I hate that. And I think not only these kids don't want to be hated on, they're willing to learn if you're willing to teach the way that they're willing to learn. If that
For sure. For
so
sure.
you come in and you tell them that's not the way to do it, and you got to do it this way because when I was growing, like I don't even proceed with that. I don't
Right.
proceed with me at all.
Right.
Yo, I like what you're doing. Here's another way to do it, and I'll show you.
That's
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
it.
Don't
That's
like.
it.
Here's another way to do it, and then see if
Exactly.
you like it. A and B it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's
Right.
like once you bring them into your world, it no longer feels like I'm disregarding your world. I'm telling you, my world is better. I'm not doing that. I will never, because when we were coming up in hip hop, there was a bunch of people that was telling us we was whack.
Right.
You know,
Right. I say that on my live all the time. I say, bro, y'all think that we had it like that? They was like, man, what is that? I
right,
mean, like they like, bro, come on, get up out of
right,
here with that.
right.
I remember that like yesterday. So
Yes,
you are
sir.
3,000% correct.
Yes, sir.
And one thing you just said that I say all the time is you can do whatever you want to do, but when you ask yourself how do you achieve something and somebody say, listen, maybe this is another way you might want to think about it. The A and B thing you said is I mention that all the time. You want to A B stuff to see if you're in close in range to what you're inspired by.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, and one of the engineers that I had, I can't think of his name right now. This was years when I was a teenager. I remember being in the studio and he said, how you want this mix to sound? And I said, man, at the time, I said I wanted to feel like that DOC the formula.
Yeah,
The way the form. I just love the way that it hit my ears a certain way. He said, "All right, give me the CD." We
right.
A Bing this. I mean, literally A Bing it through the mix off the board, going back playing the CD, listen to this low end. Okay, this is how I'm learning how to mix. This is how I'm learning that if I want something to be on the next level, I have to turn to the stuff I'm inspired by.
That's right.
So a lot of people say they're inspired by certain things, but you're not following that inspiration.
Yeah,
You're following trend, you're following trendy things that people tell you. You have to A B it. That is a key word. A
yeah.
being is so important if you're trying to obtain something that you look at on a level that you're trying to accomplish.
That's
If you like Steph Curry and you want to shoot like him, then you're gonna have to try to somewhat practice like that. You're gonna have to start putting up shots. You're gonna have to start doing certain things because you're not working like that. You know what I mean?
that's right.
That's your AB.
Yeah, yeah.
That's facts, bro. That is really, really there. That's facts, bro.
No, and it's. I mean, it's. I love the fact, like I'm reading some of the comments, and these kids know from and Young Kings and all that, and they're saying references. That's we grew up on references.
Right.
Even demos, a lot of people get demoitis. They get married to their demo, but we'll use your demo and then make the demo sound better. So it's a reference. We still A B it. So when it comes down to it, if you really want to hone in on your sound, I love the fact that you just mentioned this. Find a record that you want to sound like and A B it. Try to find a way to lock in on your low end, like in the club. How do I get my bass and my kick and all that to resonate like this record. And if you A/B it, you'll start to learn. That's how I learned how to mix, like all of that stuff, all those
That's
records.
facts.
I want to know how do I get the kick to come through the exact same frequency as the bass, but they don't phase or they don't,
They don't
split.
clash.
You know what I'm saying? Like how do
Hmm.
I turn around and do it? And you have
Yeah,
to create the spaces and stuff like that. So that's yeah, that was a dope.
bro. I tell people all the time, Dre is the master of spacing. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
the space that he creates for the mixes is second to none. I mean, it's insane.
yeah,
It's insane how everything is heavy, but it
yeah.
has its own space.
Yes, sir.
And those type of dynamics lead you to superior records.
Yes, sir.
Period.
Yes, sir.
There's just hands down, there's really there's nothing to debate about.
Yeah,
When you understand spacing and you understand and giving stuff room to breathe, you might have a lot of elements, but
yeah,
this is gonna come in here, that's gonna come out and go into this part. And you still have all these elements, they just not all you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Just
Everybody
oh
barrel through the middle. Yeah, yeah. Dre taught me a long time ago. Um, and it's the English of it that has resonated throughout the rest of my career. That space is an instrument, and people don't play that instrument.
mm,
Trying to fill the instrument. You don't need the space is an instrument itself. And so when you realize and respect it as such, you're gonna find out that there's way more headroom than you even imagine. Once you realize that there is a space for everything and you leave a space for something to be felt, it's a game changer, man. Like
mm.
I have to fill every hole. I don't have to pause, but you don't have to, but you don't have to,
You
you know,
crazy.
every track doesn't need to be, filled with a note or filled with a drum or filled with a sometimes just the lack of it. Now you're giving me something to use my mind. Now you're giving me something to put what I may feel should be there or whatever as an artist, or you're giving me something as a listener to hope for, but it wasn't there. But it's like, oh my goodness, I still love. Like it's that space is a beautiful place to play, man.
For
And
sure.
when he taught me that, I was like, that's why when I listen to his stuff in headphones, you can hear everything.
Everything.
Nothing gets lost. I try to
Everything.
hear it. It's like, oh my God.
Everything. I'm
Every
talking about everything. I'm talking about it's almost it makes me mad. I just be want to come down to the studio and say, Dre, stop. Just stop it. You know what I'm saying? It just make you mad. It's just like, bro, what are you doing over here? But I'm saying that in a good way. Like
yeah.
that's
He
where we
pushes
need to be.
pushes
He
you.
pushes you to step up and
Yeah.
be the best you can be, bro. And
Yeah.
you definitely know that because even when we was in the studio and you on the board, you're listening and you're like, you know what, I'm about to cut a little bit of this. You know, I'm watching. I'm watching what's
Yes.
going on. And
Thank
you're dialed in, you're hearing the frequencies and you're dialing. You're like, I'm gonna cut this, I'm gonna boost a little here. I'm what that's why the record sounds so immaculate, man.
thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. And it's funny, like there's such a joy in mixing that stuff, man. Cause it's like, man, when people feel what you feel as you're mixing it, there's nothing like that, bro. And I know
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
I
It's not
do.
creating the music, but when you start to dial in, and I'm saying this to everybody here that's watching you too, when you start to dial in that magic moment when it all comes together and people hear it and they feel what you felt, that connectivity is something special, bro.
It is.
Special. That's the reason why I do it. Like that, when people are like, "Oh my God, I felt that in my chest," or "Oh my God," and they give you the stank face, the ugly
Right,
face.
exactly.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God,
bro,
that's
that's how I was when we was in the studio. You was playing stuff. I was like, what's that? What is going on in here, bro? You know what I mean? I love that though, bro. I've never been a person to frown up on stuff that's dope. That is the best feeling in the world to hear stuff because that challenges you for greatness, man. I just want cats to understand. Don't 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 set your bar down low.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
because you don't feel you at a level of a Focus or a Dre or me or whoever, don't set your bar low. Say, well, I'll never get there. So I just want people to accept. Like, I don't like that attitude. People don't understand the greatness in them,
yeah,
but we're in a very complacent world. We're in a normalized world where, okay, this the participation award era is what I look at. You know what I mean? Thank you, 79 class. I appreciate, man, the super chat. Thank you, brother. We're in an era where people don't feel like you don't supposed to get an award if you don't put in the work. You get an award
yeah,
when you put in the work. And if
yeah,
this person is getting an award, you work just as hard to get that award. You look up to that, you study that, and you put in that work because that's what made them dope. So I'm a firm believer if it's great, man, study the greatness, man. Don't lower the greatness bar down. And then now so the greats gotta come down to this. I think that's crazy to me.
yeah. There's no
That's
way
crazy to me.
I would never regress. I would never go backwards. I would never come down to a level. Um, and I still, no matter what, I'm still going to learn from people like you, Battle Cat, Quincy Jones, Prince is my all-time favorite.
I know. I heard
Stevie,
that track you did. That was crazy.
thank you, bro. But like even like when you listen to these people and you know, they create from that pure place. There's no way that you can be led astray by people like that.
Facts.
If you're led by somebody that's telling you that it's about the bag or you got to make the next hit, I hate anyone, and I'm sorry, and I have to say this, hate is a strong word.
I understand.
I hate anyone that tells you, all right, go in the studio and make the next hit.
Yeah, man, I hate that term. God, I dislike. I really.
I, that,
Let's just use the word dis.
you
Let's use the word dislike. I dislike.
know what? E, I and I love you, OG, but I can't. I hate that. I hate that.
I
You know
feel it.
why? You're creating a wall, a ceiling, and a floor for me in a room that I have to be free. That makes no sense.
I
You
understand.
bring in another room within the room. You put me in a box. That's not fair.
Right.
You tell somebody to create the next hit. You tell somebody go in there, be creative, and just make the best music you can make, and then you make it a hit. Hits are manufactured. Music is
Right.
all forever. So at the end of the day, you can program the whole world to love a record if that's what you choose to do. They
Right.
don't do that.
That's
They
right.
want the world to be dumb and droned out, and I'm just not gonna play that game. That doesn't make no sense. Don't
None.
ask for another record that I've already done, and don't ask me to create another hit. There's no such thing. Every record is going to resonate at the time it's supposed to resonate. It's just the right timing.
That's
You
facts.
can't,
All facts.
you know what
All
I'm saying?
facts.
You can't make a hit right now. I don't know what a hit right now is.
How do we know? I don't know anybody that know a record was going to be a hit. You know what I'm saying?
There's some people though. There are some people because like when you make great, like I'm saying, you make
Mm-hmm.
great. Michael knew what he had off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Michael knew what he had when he made off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Prince knew what he had when he did Purple Rain. Stevie knew what he. You know what I'm saying? Like these are
Mm-hmm.
people who knew.
But I think the point that I'm making focus is that they didn't go into it like this a hit. They went into it
There,
like is this is bang. This is what I feel from my heart.
there it is.
It
Yes.
becomes that hit, but they go into it like, no, I'm making something that's so dope from my heart that's your hit. When you putting your love and your passion in it,
Yes,
that's
sir.
where the hits come from. They come from your passion. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, I definitely understand where you're coming from. But I think that I don't think they're thinking this a hit. I think it this. I'm putting my
Yeah.
heart
They
in
just
this.
knew. They knew what it was. Amen.
They
Yeah.
knew what it
They didn't.
was. They
Yeah.
exactly. It's like I know what I'm doing. I know what it is. I know I put a lot into this. I'm
Yeah.
practicing. I'm
Yeah.
taking stuff out. I'm redoing stuff over. I know I'm on to something. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
on
sir.
to something.
Yes.
So definitely understand where you're coming from. By
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
By far.
Whew. Whew. Yeah. I'm awake now. I'm awake.
Man, bro, listen, man. I like I said again, man. This is so dope, man, to talk to you. We could talk all day, man, because like I said again, we have so much in common. But the most important thing is our brotherhood and our spirituality, man,
Yes,
and
sir.
what you represent, man. I love it so much, man. And I mean, I guess before we, wrap it up, man, because we could talk all day and go
Yes.
all day. But I just want to thank you, one, for coming on the platform and giving people your knowledge, man, because I respect you at the highest level, what you've done, what you're doing, and just how you're continue to inspire and to motivate. And even though with all the stuff that goes on in the industry, you're still finding your place where you don't feel like you have to compromise and conform. And
Yes.
that I respect. That I respect anybody that stay on their path. No matter what it look like, stay on your path. You get the utmost salute because that's very important.
Thank
Very important.
you. Thank you, man.
Very
Um,
important.
I I'm going to keep creating when people keep listening, and I know that that's where your heart is too. I'm
Yes,
gonna
sir.
gonna always create if people keep listening, and you know, I don't know what else to do. This is it. Like I said, it's a melody in my heart every morning. I'm after this. I'm fired up. So I'm about to fire up the
Yes.
this, I just appreciate you, E, and I appreciate not only that you have always forged forward, but you always have come back, and whatever you're doing, you always try to include. And there's not a lot of people like you. There's
Man,
definitely a lot of people like them, but there's only one you. So I
thank you,
appreciate,
bro.
and that salute goes right back to you. You already know that.
Hey, focus. Listen, brother. Our brotherhood is so tight, man, and the love, and and I tell people on this platform before we end this is that you have to surround yourself with people that you'll have those common things in common. You know, there's a lot of people you might not have common things in common, and you can still be cordial with them, but you want to surround yourself with people you have in common because that makes you grow
That
and
like
it
my
keeps you in that spirit. It keeps you in that great spirit. If you're around people that's kind of the opposite of where you're trying to go in your life, you'll find yourself really declining far. We only live once. You only have one life here.
yeah,
I really encourage people to not waste that time being around stuff that doesn't inspire your mind, that don't inspire you to get fired up, that don't inspire you to go in there and be great. Because there's so many people that have trauma that they will take you away from your blessing.
man.
You only your blessing is your blessing.
That's right.
To be in the music business is a blessing. Not that many people will get that opportunity to be in here and to be able to really say they've made a career and a living off of music.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
There's a lot of people that will do music and will have to do side other stuff
yeah,
just to
yeah,
try to survive
yeah.
in a evolution of where this business is at. So for you to do what you do, for me to do what I do, and to be able to have a career off of what we love,
Yes, sir.
we have to be around people that inspire us, that keeps us in that great mind space, that are productive thinkers, that's not pessimistic, but we know that we're going to grow and be creative. And when you do that, I feel like you're going to continue to just always go to the next level, no matter who's around you.
Yes,
It
sir.
doesn't matter.
Yes, sir.
It
Yes,
doesn't matter. You'll be able to weed them out. Say, "Hey, man, I deal with you for that, but let me get around the people." Because when you're around that, like you said with your PDF, that right there is your inspiration. You're like, when I'm around them, you just get fired up.
that's right. That's right.
And I tell everybody on this platform, you gotta be around people that fire you up in a positive way. Some people fire you up in a negative way. Man, this
Yeah.
is you're like, no, we don't want to be around that
Yeah.
inspiration. You know what I'm saying? you know,
Right.
but I love you, Focus, man. Man, love you to death. Thank you a lot for coming on the platform, bro.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
be coming down to LA pretty soon though, so I'll hit you up. We'll touch
Please.
base like you know how we do.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, hey
Yes.
man, y'all give it up to my brother Focus, man. I know when you dropping the stuff. When you gonna drop the PDF stuff?
We have the new video coming in probably in another few weeks.
Okay,
Whole project. I'm shooting for the stars with this one, OG. So I'm looking for someone to put it out the correct way and not tell us what we have to do, but allowing us to, put it out through them. So we're still looking for a situation, but if we don't find one, we're gonna do it for the top of the year.
Okay.
Just let the whole project breathe,
Yeah.
and move on to the next one. So yeah.
Man, anytime you need me, bro, I'm on deck, brother. And man, once you get it, man, just send it to me, man. I can't wait. I'm love to be inspired, brother.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you so much, man. Keep doing
Yeah.
what you're
Thank
please.
you, bro. I love you, bro, man. We'll
We
touch
need
down
you.
soon. We need you, bro. We need you too, brother. Thank you, sir. I love you, bro.
Love you too.
We'll touch down later.
All right, for sure. Yeah.
Peace. It's my brother, man. Focus, man. One of the best to do it. One of the best to do it, man. One of the best to do it, man. So I told you I want to bring y'all somebody that's dope, that inspires, that continue to push the levels in this game and the culture, y'all. And that's what I want to do, for all of us, is to push the culture forward, is to make us think out of the box, is to make us not stay in that complacent mindset. There's so many people that they're very, very just they're locked into what they hear. We got to think out the box. We really got to think out the box, man. Focus is one of the greatest dudes. Man, y'all got to meet this guy, man. Like, it's him being on the platform doesn't say enough for who he is as a person. As a person, and that's the same for Vicky. If y'all getting to know Vicky, Vicky has the same type of heart. Me and Vicky been knowing each other over 20 plus years, and she has the most beautiful heart in the world, man. You want to be surrounded by people that love you and that's unconditional. You heard me say that, this man was there for me when I lost my artist, rest in peace, Red the Arsonist, and he was right there, him and Teak from Hardway Productions. You want to be around great people, y'all. This is why I tell y'all I'm very blessed. Obscure Streets, man. Another brother that's a great brother that looked out, for me. You know what I'm saying? You want to be around great people, y'all. And that is going to spark y'all to be great. So I don't care what anybody tell you. You know, you can listen to whoever you want to listen to. You can get information for whoever you want to get information from. Just remember, that information can poison you or it can make you great. Now, who do you want to listen to is the question. You know what I'm saying? That's really the question. Who do you want to be inspired by? You want to be inspired, what I'm saying? Some tough love is going to help you go further in life. Some of the tough love is going to help you push you to go further. King Villain, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Next to Me, produced by Focus, was incredible. Yeah, man, Focus is a beast, man. I mean, it's nothing I can say, about that brother more than he's one of the dopest to do it, man. And what's so crazy, man, is Focus is very, very, very humble. A lot of people won't know about what he has done at all. And of course, him being under Dre, that probably is a big reason. But that man has been behind a lot of stuff. We would still be here talking about it if if we was to run down his whole resume. So shout out to my brother Focus, man. Shout out to y'all that's got up early this morning to get this information. I love y'all, man. I told you I was trying to bring y'all, some interviews that hopefully it inspire y'all, man. That's all I want to do is keep you inspired and keep y'all understanding your music don't have to be on a trash level or down. It's all about thinking and practicing. Keep practicing, keep working, but don't settle. Don't settle, man. Don't settle. That settling is killing us, bro. Settling is killing us. You dig what I'm saying? The SSL drums slapping. Go get the man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and for those who don't got the SSL drums, you want to go get them because they won't be up that long. So I don't know what to tell you after that point. All I can tell you is that they're doing very well. Go get the drums. They fire. That's what's up. I played my beats in the studio with him a few years ago. Real humble dude. Gave me great advice. That's what's up, Mo Spence. He's a great dude, man. Very, very great dude. Very great. Very great. I can't say nothing more than just the greatness of that brother. Ski, all these people around the globe listening in. Hey man, well that's the goal, too, Papa, man, is to allow people to listen in on some real information, because people around the globe is hearing so much bull that they hear more bull than they hear real. So if the people around the globe is really listening, they paying attention, they seeing that you have a different option. EA Ski is a different option for you, then God bless. Then I'm doing my purpose because I'm here to give you a different option. I don't want y'all to settle. I don't want y'all to get complacent with just the popularity and making the same stuff and not practicing and not trying to take your stuff to the next level. I want you to get real information. So if I'm able to contribute to that, then I give all power to God. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just a messenger, man. That's it. That's it. I'm just a messenger. I'm not no more than that. I don't want y'all to put me as no idol or nothing. Just say, man, Ski is inspiring. That's what I want to get from this. Is Ski is inspiring us. That's it. And if I'm doing that, then I'm doing my job. You dig what I'm saying? I love all y'all, man. I saw why I'm on this platform to give y'all great stuff. That's why I gave y'all the new drums, stuff that's gonna hopefully get you inspired. As soon as you start getting the studio working, it's gonna make, man, these drums, these kicks, these snares. That's how I want to feel. When I'm in the studio, I want to be inspired. You know, y'all act like I don't produce or I don't rap. Like I want to feel the way y'all feel. That's why I give you the way I feel. So when I make the stuff, I'm giving you my feeling of what I want to get from my own drums, right? So when y'all tell me that these drums is crazy, you know, I just sit back and I smile. Like, yeah, because that's the goal. Is to put a smile on people's face and make people be inspired. I don't want people frowning up and being mad. For what? I want y'all to be inspired. Music can be a great game if you take the time to listen and learn. Or it could be the worst game in the world for you if you bitter and you're insecure and you don't want to grow and you don't want to learn. You got to choose which one you want for yourself. I can't make you learn. I can't put a gun in your head and say, hey, you need to learn. I could just give you the message. And of course, when you're a messenger, you're going to have people that be a distraction, of course. That comes along with it. But that's how you know you're doing God's work. When people feel some type of way, I'm doing my job. So I salute y'all for wanting to listen and come get it. Ski, I got the Neve converter and the SSL drums banging in the MPC 2500. That's what I'm talking about, brother. All my sons are in East Orange in Brooklyn. Salute. Jack Jones. Salute. Salute to everybody. Salute to anybody that I missed on the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I always appreciate people that take the time out to give a super chat or a super thanks. It means a lot to me because I do try my best to bring you really, really good content that's going to spark your mind. And who better than Focus? Somebody that's been around, one of the best to ever do it with Dre, has been around all the stuff and all the hits that he's put out, and his legendary dad. Come on, man. His legendary dad, you gotta know that man has got some genius, you know. So that's what's up, y'all, man. You know, thank y'all, everybody, for tuning in. About to get out of here, man. Get my daughter to school and get in the studio and get to working because I got some things to do. But I'm telling y'all right now, I guess around about what? The 31st is almost here. So I'm gonna let y'all know about that thing I got so y'all can know about. You know, we're gonna do a little giveaway on that. And y'all go get those SSL drums. You need to get them because you never know. I might take them down by this week. You never know. Get on your game. Get on your game. I gave you many warnings. Yes, many people don't know about Focus. He is a timeless music. Aftermath Entertainment. Glad Vicky is doing okay. I will be getting them SSL drums. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody on here, man. Thank you. Salute. Hey, enjoy y'all Monday. Stay prayed up. Don't let nothing distract you. This is morning God work. This is why I do it early in the morning so we can start our day off with our minds right. You ain't got no reason to be hateful. I don't care what your coworker do to you. I don't care what anybody do with you. We ain't got too much good information for you to be in a bad mood. So don't be in a bad mood today. Let's get it. The Almighty EA. I'm out.